Since the idea was to bolt this rack together instead of welding it, I needed a way to prevent water from getting inside the rack through the bolt holes and rusting it out. So for the bolt holes for the side plates here, I drilled some 3/4 inch holes all the way through both sides of the box tube and sleeved them with some 3/4 inch outer diameter tube I picked up at the hardware store. This means I have to use longer bolts when putting those side plates on, but it ensures that I won't have to worry about any rust from inside. This was also a tricky weld due to just the rack pieces being already mostly done, and I did not have a good way to hold them, so we had to get creative. My rack is going to be made from much bigger material than the crossbars that Free Spirit Recreation thinks their tent is going to go on, so I had to make my own crossbar brackets. I used much thicker material than what was provided with the tent just for some peace of mind, and I included a plastic spacer that fits between the tent and the rack. So this plastic spacer will just prevent the steel rack from damaging the aluminum frame of the tent. Okay. I just got done grinding off all the little like weld boogers that were left from when I'd had the supports in for the upper half of this. So ground those all smooth. Now there's nothing on this rack that'll cut me or snag me as I'm trying to grab stuff off of it. So the last thing I got to do before I can paint the top of this would be to drill the holes to mount my MaxTrax brackets. Once that's done, this thing can be painted. And then I also did some intermittent stitch welding along the inside of my angle channels here, as well as on top. So those side plates are now ready for paint as well. They'll be a lot more rigid mounted to the side of the racks. And then I touched up few spots where the paint was thin on the headache rack and support. So we're almost done with this thing. I gotta, like I said, drill holes to bolt my MaxTrax brackets, bolt those onto the roof rack, and then paint that, and then it can all go together. All right, so got one coat of paint on everything. I still gotta hit the other side of the side plates, as well as touch up whatever spots I've invariably missed on the roof rack. But I'm out of paint, so I gotta go get some more paint and some hardware for the MaxTrax mounts, but we're almost done. All right, so we have marked and punched the roof in all four corners where we're gonna drill for the roof rack. Put the roof rack up first, marked, took it off, punched, put it back up to check, because it's easier to check where the punch is than to move a hole once you've already drilled it, and repunched the ones that needed it, so they're hopefully close enough that my slightly oversized holes will take up the slack. And we're about to drill some holes in the roof of the truck, so this is point of no return, and we'll update you in a few minutes. It'll either have gone well or not. All right, small holes went well. We're stepping up to the drill bit size for the rivet nuts. So I got all the holes drilled, and we're going to be using 3/8 thread, 3/8 16 rivet nuts to secure this thing to the roof, because I didn't want to drill all the way through and have nuts sticking through the headliner. It looks like trash. So those will drop in like that, and then we'll just pop them. Before I do that though, I'm going to, so this knurled section is the part that deforms. So what I'm going to do is I've got some of this thread sealant that I'm going to use when we bolt the roof rack on. I'm also going to glob a bunch of it around that knurled section, so that hopefully we get a good seal around the rivet nut as well as around the bolt. And then we'll also seal around the whole foot of the roof rack. So with any luck, we're not going to get any water in here. So we'll see. All right, so we've got all 8 are in the roof. So that's the most stressful part done. From here, we are going to, I'm gonna grab the roof rack, set it up here, and then stack up my spacer. Here, I'll just, there, okay. Spacer, aluminum, and then plastic foot. So the plastic's gonna sit on the bottom here, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, definitely will keep any of the metals from damaging the paint on the roof any more than it already is. The spacers, just because when the roof rack is up here, there's a little wobble corner to corner because we weren't able to weld it. Like, it warped enough when it welded. There's really no easy way aside from welding it on the roof to get it to sit flat. So spacer will hopefully take up enough slack that we can tighten it down and it sits nice. And the other nice thing about this is, right, we will be doing a bead of sealant all around the perimeter of these pieces. So what that means is once that's on, all right, if I ever want to take the roof rack off, then I take the roof rack off, and then this aluminum spacer, blacked as a washer, and then the plastic foot, and these just stay on here. And then I can make just regular crossbars or just leave these on or something like that. All right. So we've got the aluminum spacers on and bolted down tight. This needs a little bit longer to cure, so we're not going to put the rack on yet because I don't think we're going to be able to do it. We'll have to unbolt enough of these at a time. I don't think we're going to be able to get the rack up here and position it without bumping them and moving them. So this has to cure so that the adhesive can hold it in place while we do that. I don't know how long that'll take. We're going to put the bed rack together and then break for dinner. And if these are good after we eat dinner, then we'll put the roof rack on and then the roof tent can go on. Otherwise, it'll be a tomorrow thing. But we're gonna get the rack on tonight at very least. All right, so here we are. It is just about done. We probably didn't let it cure quite enough, so I'll do some touch-up paint probably tomorrow. Still gotta mount my backup camera and some camp lights, but other than that, it's get the roof tent on here. Oh, well, roof rack and then the roof tent, so we're close. I'm pretty stoked with it. I mean, it's, you know, good and sturdy. I don't think this is going to be any sort of strength concern on the trails that this thing hits. I don't know, got anything you want to say about it? You're excited?
I'm so excited. I want to put the tent on.
I know. Roof rack first though, because otherwise the roof rack is gonna suck. we have run into another little problem. And so I welded, yeah, you can see there. I welded these rear cargo light tabs on and didn't think to check the width, but this is where the tent needs to sit to be centered on the truck. And I got a tab in the way here, and I got a tab in the way here. So, this is me acknowledging that the correct way to go about this would probably be to cut the tabs off and weld them on somewhere else. However, I have a full day of work tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, we're leaving at 10 a.m., 9:30 a.m. to go on a camping trip, so I don't have time for that. So my solution was to cut a section. We're gonna offset, there we go, we're gonna offset the holes on this thing and cut out a section. So the way this is gonna sit now is like that. Should still be strong enough. I mean, these straps were way thicker than what they sent with the tent, so I'm not too worried about strength-wise. And then the other hidden benefit to this is with the tabs on the outside, excuse me, with the tabs on the outside of where the straps sit on the front and the gussets where they are here, this tent is gonna have a really hard time moving itself off of center. So it should stay put pretty dang well. So that was only a few minutes of work. We're gonna throw these on now and then take it for a lap around the block tonight, because I need to know before tomorrow morning whether or not I can take this to work. Well, good morning. It is Saturday. I was out here thrashing on it again until like 11 o'clock last night, but I got area lights and bed lights on and wired up, so I wanted to just give a little look at the final product. Also, I got the backup camera, I don't know if you can see right there, mounted and wired in. The only thing that still needs to be done on that is the trigger wire for, like when you put it into reverse, the wire that taps into one of the reverse lights to trigger the backup camera. Those lights on the center light are not reverse lights, those are cargo lights. So I have to run that wire down the headache rack and under the bed rail and into that mess. So that's a project for later. I do have, it's a nice like touchscreen mirror, so I do have the ability to just tell it to show me the rear view, so that's what I'll be working with for this trip. But yeah, all wrapped up. Got my CB on, and in the future I think the max tracks are going to move back to this span, but I honestly thought I would have way less real estate up here, so that's cool. I can move the max tracks back for aerodynamic improvements and then maybe put a solar panel on the front there or something. But there she is, ready to go. So we leave in an hour and a half. I've got a bunch of packing to do, but for right now, that is this project done. We'll have another video up shortly after this one showing the camp setup and this wheeling trip. I will also do another video later showing how I do my wiring. I didn't really record any of it last night because I was ripping through it just trying to get it done, and it's not the prettiest job I've ever done, but it'll work. And yeah, it was, you know, hard to film when it's dark and all that, so that'll come later. But it's done. Stay tuned for the next video where we go use it, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.